Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sentell, live on YouTube, the best damn sports podcast, period. The undisputed champion of sports podcast. I'm your host, the sensational Sentell Whiteman, aka Mr. No Days Off, aka the One Man Dynasty. It's an Overreaction Monday. I'm gonna try to get through this show, but as you can see, I'm 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 an emotional wreck right now. I don't know. I don't. There's nothing else I can say. I don't. There are no words right now for what I'm feeling. It's just painful. It's just painful, man. We got a lot to get into on the show today. A lot of action from the college football this weekend. A lot of games from NFL yesterday. We had a big fire in college football that shook up the college football landscape. We'll get to that. I can see your comments. If you want to leave some comments on the chat, I can see those as well. So y'all just bear with me. I'm gonna try to push through. It's just been an emotional 48 hours. Yesterday was like the crescendo of what seemingly is like this nightmare that just won't end for me these last 4 years. Everything that seemingly can go wrong has gone wrong for every team that I root for, and it's just heartbreaking. I watched that game yesterday and all the injuries that we already have, and the one guy who hasn't missed one game since 2021. The one guy who hasn't missed a game, only one game that you could count on. If like he's always gonna be there, no matter how bad it get, no how many injuries we have, that one guy would always be there. That one guy would always be around. And to see him laying on that ground yesterday, knowing it was really, really serious, I saw it kind of live. I literally stopped watching the game at that very moment. I can't even watch this anymore. I can't take this. This is painful. But I did find my way back to the couch, and I was emotional from that point on. Like I don't know what overcame me. I was just so emotional at that point, and I was just watching that game with just the most emotional I can remember, just being for a regular season game, just emotional. Like I just wanted to win that game so bad yesterday, just because of what I knew what was coming down the pipe, and it was just painful. I've never been that emotional. It was just awful. So let's try to get into this show. Let's start. Let's go back to Saturday. Let's start with let's start with the James Franklin news first. Let's start with the James Franklin news. If you haven't heard, James Franklin was let go by Penn State. Was fired Sunday morning. And it's funny. Me and my friends were having a discussion the day before. Seemingly the day before. I think it was the day before. Maybe even Saturday. Was having this conversation about what Penn State is and how they view themselves and all these different things. And to me, when they fired James Franklin yesterday, they showed me exactly who they think they are, who they believe themselves to be. This guy went to the playoffs last year, but it's been very underwhelming since he's been there. I think he's 4-21 against top 10 teams something to that nature. And it seemed like every big game he could never win. And then to top it all off, they lose 3 straight games. They lose a game to UCLA, who has a completely different staff. They fired the head coach, they fired the defensive coordinator, they fired the offensive coordinator. They have 3 new positional coaches that are big pieces of a team. Those are like if you had a pecking order, those would be the 3 guys. They fired all them guys, and Penn State lost to that team. Then they turn around and come back home and lose to a bad, horrible Northwestern team at home, where they only scored 21 points. If I'm right, maybe 22. I can't remember. It was a low scoring game, but they lost to Penn State. Now on top of that, they lost Drew Allen for the season, which that could be a good thing because he has been absolutely terrible. He has been really really bad. So that could be a good thing. But ultimately, they think they should be better than what they are, and I typically agree with them. This is a brand name program. Uh, I don't know what the NIL situation is like. I have no idea. Uh, but this tells me that they are serious about the football program, and that mediocrity will not be tolerated. We've accepted it for long enough. We like the 9 wins, sometimes 10, but we're not beating Ohio State at all. We beat Michigan sometimes. We're not beating those top teams because now Oregon's in the Big Ten. You can't beat them. The USC seems to start to turn a corner right now. So now you're falling down the pecking order. So now you're not just behind Ohio State. Now you're falling 2, 3, 4 spots behind these other teams in the Big Ten. So, and I think he'll be a hot commodity. James Franklin is a hell of a football coach. He just could never seem to get that program to the next level. Could he go somewhere else and do that? I believe he could. I believe he can. I always felt like he had already peaked out at Penn State. Everything just looked the same. For the last 4, 5 years, the team looked completely the same, except for outside of a couple of years we have an elite level defense. Everything else looked the same. It's a very average quarterback, got a decent running game, really no skill position player to speak of on the outside to really threaten the defense. So this move seems like it was inevitable. But no, don't cry for James Franklin. $50 million buyout, so he will be just fine and dandy. So that's my thoughts on the James Franklin situation. If you want to get in with some comments on that, feel free to get some comments in, and I'll read those as I go through some of these scores from the weekend in the world of college football and the NFL. It was number 1 Ohio State over Illinois 34-16. Ohio State is playing really good football. They're playing complementary football. Uh, they're not really flashy on offense, but the defense is stout. Before this game, they was giving up 5 points a game. You heard me right. They were giving up 5 points a game coming into this game. They had played that Washington Huskies team on the road. They held that Washington Huskies team to 6 points. That Washington Huskies team has one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the country. If you haven't seen him play, they held that team. They held that team to 5 to 6 points. I'm sorry. So Ohio State looks to be a really really solid team. Hold on, just give me a second. Yeah, but Ohio State looks to be the real deal. They deserve the number one. They deserve the number 1 ranking right now. They are just a solid football team. Like I said, you can look at the schedule if you want to, but they played Texas, who's Texas still, regardless of how they've looked. They beat that Washington team that I mentioned, and they just beat the Illinois team that's ranked. That was top 10 team coming into the season. So they've been impressive. They've been consistently the top team in the country, and that doesn't seem to be changing. Another big game in the Big Ten was number 3, Indiana, and I might have that backwards. Um, number Oregon might be number three. Indiana might be number eight. I think Oregon was number three. Indiana was number eight. But anyway, Indiana did beat Oregon 30 to 20. What Kirk Cinetti has done at Indiana is beyond amazing. We knew the offense was explosive with Mendoza, but they held Oregon to 267 yards on offense. So that is super impressive. So Kurt Cinetti had done a hell of a job, and his name has already been mentioned in this Penn State job search. So his name will come up a lot in over the winter for jobs, but the job he's done at Indiana cannot be overstated. He's been fantastic. He had that team rolling. They definitely a playoff team. Um, and we'll see moving forward what can they do in the playoffs. But this is a legit playoff team. Indiana impressive win in Eugene. So they go into Oregon and beat them. So very impressive win. It was number 9 Georgia 20, Auburn 10. Speaking of the opposite of impressive, I mean, I just thought this was an ugly football game. If you watch this game, this was an ugly old school. It looked like a Georgia Auburn game from the past. It was just ugly. Georgia did just enough. They didn't turn the ball over. They held Auburn to 277 yards of offense. So they just did just enough. But Hugh Freeze is clearly on the hot seat at Auburn because this offense look pathetic since he's been there. This Auburn offense hasn't been able to get in gear since he's been there. They got really good receivers. Everybody know about Cam Coleman, and they brought the transfer in from Georgia Tech, and in this offense, they brought Jackson Arnold in to play quarterback, and it could partly be him, but at the end of the day, Hugh Freeze is responsible for the guy that they brought in. So that was Georgia over Auburn. It was number 7 Texas Tech. The Red Raiders beat Kansas 42-17. The story here is Morton, the starting quarterback, was injured early in the first half. Not sure the severity of the injury, but he didn't return to the game. So that could be something to monitor. But Texas Tech looks really good. We know about the offense, but if you look, they're playing really tremendous defense this year. That's one of the differences. They have a great receiving core, but if Morton is hurt, that'd be something we have to look to and concern ourselves with as we move forward. It was number 10 LSU 20, South Carolina 10. South Carolina made some moves today. Yesterday they fired the offensive line coach, and I'm sure it's another position coach that I might be missing, but I don't know what's going on with South Carolina. People think it's the offensive coordinator. That's possible because this team is just too talented to score 10 points. But they just don't look right up front. They don't protect Sellers well enough. They don't do enough in the run game. I thought LSU, this is kind of typical of what they've been doing all season. They haven't looked great. They haven't been able to run the football. The quarterback Nussmeier has not played well at all this season. He is not like a guy that was projected as a potential first round top pick in the draft at some point. Some people had him rated as the best quarterback in college football heading to the season. He hasn't played great. So, just a typical LSU win. When they win, this is how they win it right now. Ugly. They're playing good defense. The defense is improved. But I don't know what's going on with South Carolina. Could it be the offensive coordinator? Possibly. But they got to get better around Lenore Sellers if they want to see his full potential. I don't see a receiver who's really stepped up. I was waiting for Nick Harvey to take that step, and he just don't look like he's going to take that step. The O-line has been a huge issue, which is why the O-line coach got fired. They just don't do anything offensively that just threatens the defense at all. It just doesn't do anything. So I'm very surprised by that, given the talent that they have. It was number 6 Alabama 27 over I forgot what Missouri was ranked. What Missouri was ranked, I forgot. That was the top 10 matchup, but Missouri was undefeated 5-0. They beat Missouri 27-24. Uh, Hardy, the running back from Missouri, was leading the nation in rushing, and Alabama did a tremendous job. They held him to 52 yards rushing, so they held the nation's leading rusher to only 52 yards rushing. And Ty Simpson, yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Ty Simpson is perhaps your Heisman Trophy front runner at this very moment. He is playing that well since the Florida State game. He has been outstanding. He had 3 TDs again yesterday, no INT, over 70% completion ratio. He's playing clean football. He's not turning it over, and he looks very comfortable in the pocket. He understands where his routes are, where his progressions are, where his check downs. He just looks completely in control of the offense, and kudos to him. He's playing very, very well. But big win for Alabama on the road at Mizzou. Couple of just scores to just throw out. Clemson did win yesterday, 41-10 over Boston College. USC number 20 ranked USC Trojans beat Michigan 31-13. The Miller kid. Oh, I wish I knew his first name is crazy. I forgot his first name. He had 158-yard rushing yesterday because they lost their top running back. He got hurt, and then he comes in and get 158 yards against Michigan defense. Plus, I can't say his last name. The quarterback for USC has played really, my boy, he's played really, really well for them this year as too. So, USC, number 20 ranked in the nation, they beat Michigan. So, that's pretty much your college football for the weekend. I didn't mention Texas A&M 34, Florida 17. Look, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about William Napier. The game started off really going back and forth. Neither defense could do anything, and both defenses made adjustments. But the Florida offense just reverted back to what we've been seeing, what year after year after year now, after game after game after game. It's just too predictable. It's just not good enough. William is now 21-23. Most people feel he'll be fired sooner rather than later. To me, it doesn't matter when you fire. I want him fired now, but the timing doesn't matter. The timing is irrelevant to whenever you get fired, because he's gonna get fired, and deservedly so. They've given him every opportunity to succeed, and he just doesn't have it. He don't have it. He shouldn't be calling plays. He's terrible at it, but I gotta give him credit. You gotta give him credit. If you gonna go down, you go down on your sword. You fall on your own sword. He took himself down. It's like I'm gonna go down. If I go down, I'm gonna go down with me being stubborn and hard headed and narcissistic and an egomaniac that puts himself before everybody else in the program. That's good for you. Now, get your shit and go. Get your shit and go. I just would be just elated once he's gone. We definitely need to upgrade at the head coach position. But Texas A&M looks like a really solid football team, number 4 in the country. They're undefeated. They got a really good offensive line. They got a really good defensive line. The quarterback, if you can get him to stay in the pocket, I worry about him a little bit. But they got 2 dynamic receivers on the outside, in Concepcion and Craver. They can really get down the football field and cause some problems for you. They can run the ball. Now, I don't know the injury to the running back, the starting running back he got hurt Saturday, so I don't know what his status is. But if they got him, they got a 2-headed monster at running back. They're a solid football team. I mean, this is a playoff team, probably potentially. Now the schedule probably gonna get a little tougher. I haven't looked at it, but at home there'll be a tough game. There'll be a tough opponent for anybody at home with that crowd, with that environment. So, kudos to Mike Elko, big Mike Elko guy. He's doing it the right way. So that was your college action from Saturday. Let's move on to the NFL, and let's get it. Let's talk about it. Give me just a second. Let me do some introductions. Welcome into the show. It's Sentell. We're live on YouTube. If you're watching, like, share, subscribe the channel. Uh, we're talking about this is Overreaction Monday, so we're reacting to what we saw from the weekend and in college football as well as the NFL. We already spoke about the James Franklin situation, but we're gonna move into the NFL portion of the program, and we're gonna talk about get the scores and some thoughts on the weekend in the NFL. Let's start with a game yesterday in Charlotte. Just because I won't start there because it's a big deal anytime the Cowboys come play the Carolina Panthers because it is a ton of Cowboy fans that live in this area. So we knew a lot of them would make that trip up to 85 to Bank of America Stadium to see the Panthers and Cowboys. And it was a good football game. In the end, the Panthers win 30-27. Bryce Young played really well. Rico Dowdle was fantastic. You know, he played his first few years with the Cowboys. They let him go. Man, he had 183 yards rushing, 56 yards receiving, over 200 yards from the offense from scrimmage. To go with his 200 yard rushing he had last week in the game, he was sensational. Bryce Young, T Mac, I call him T Mac because I can't say his name, McMillan. They were great. He had 2 TD receptions. Bryce threw 3 TD passes. Dak played really well again. George Pickens went nuts, went 8. Their offense looked as good as any offense in the NFL. But we all know what the problem is. Their defense is their defense is what I'm trying to think of something. I mean, trash truck juice. I mean, dog water. I mean, all those analogies, all those descriptions that we can come up with. The Cowboy defense is horrible. The 32nd ranked defense in the National Football League. It is bad. And if they had a mediocre defense, they would take a mediocre defense right now in Dallas, and that team could actually be a legit playoff contender. But this defense is so bad, they won't allow them to do anything. They're giving up 30 points a game. They're giving up 30.7 points a game. That is crazy. Because they're averaging over 29 points a game. But they're giving up 30. That's how bad their defense is. So, a lot of disappointed Cowboy fans coming down 85 yesterday. They fall to 2-3-1. Third place in the NFC East. The Panthers improved to 3-2. 3-2 Panthers with a chance to make the playoffs this year. I like the growth. I like Bryce. I told you I like Bryce Young from the start. Big Bryce Young guy. So it's good to see that. But the Panthers, they play really well at home. You look at their home record. Their home record is great. They play really well at home. They just don't play really. They don't play good on the road at all. You know, they beat the Falcons at home. They beat the brakes off the Falcons. So they're just a different team when they don't play at home. That's a mark of a young team. Young teams typically play well at home. Veteran teams seem to play better on the road because they've been there, they've done that, know how to handle the travel and all that good stuff that comes with playing on the road. So we'll see. But the Cowboys, this defense is bad. Got some comments here. Mr. KDD Baker, the early MVP. Gonna get to that game in a minute, but yes, Baker Mayfield right now is the MVP of the National Football League. And we through week 6. Now we got a long way to go. We go all the way to what, week 18 now? Week 18, we got 17 games, so we go to 18 weeks now. So we still got 12 more weeks to go. But right now, Baker's playing out of his goddamn mind. I mean, he is playing out of his goddamn mind right now. He's making every throw, making every play. And I mean, he's leading. He's bringing that energy. He's bringing this moxie, the swag. They were out. Mike Evans yesterday. Chris Godwin was out. Then they lost the rookie Emeka Ibuka. They lost him during the game. They don't have the starting running back is out of the game. and Baker still somehow did that yesterday. Um, I didn't even put the score down. I didn't even put the score down for that game. I think they scored 30 though. I think it was 30-21. I want to say. I can't remember. I was so distraught. But anyway, Baker, yes, early MVP, absolutely. Baker's playing just out of his mind, man. Kudos to him. Shout out to the Tampa Bay organization for believing in him, putting the pieces around him, letting him be himself. Because he can make every throw in the field. Now that's a good and a bad thing. He'll try some stuff sometimes. He'll give you one or two, but the key is can you get your hands on him and make him pay for those turnovers? He's gonna give you one or two times to make a play in the game. You just gotta make that play. But he's playing sensational football. The Bucks are 5-1, and I just mentioned all the injuries that they have. So yes, he is. Shaquille Rowe, I don't know where to start. Rebuild this defense. Built to play with a lead with an undersized unit. Speaking of the Cowboys, yes, they've been built this way for several years now. Where undersized defense who are only built to be in the league, but the problem is you can't play every game as if you're gonna have the lead and have a big enough lead where you can stop teams saying, "Well, I'm not gonna run the football," because but that's just a bad strategy for the most part. You got to be able to get some stops. Like you can be like even the Colts, back to Peyton Manning, they kind of played that way, but they could get some. You got to be able to get some stops. When you're giving up 30 points a game, you're not getting many stops in the game. When you're giving up 30, you are not getting a whole lot of stops during the game. So they have to. I mean, right now it's dead. Unless they go out and get the guy from Tennessee. I can't think. I'm drawing the blank on the big D tackle from Tennessee, but that could be a move you can make. Now, would Jerry go do that? Probably not. He don't do those kind of things. But I would love to see him go get a big Jeffrey Simmons. I would love for them to go out and get a big Jeffrey Simmons, or Cam Jordan, or somebody like that, who could actually, help stop, because you got to stop something. You can't be giving up everything. The pass defense is the worst in the league. It is just brutal. It is just bad. The PIs, the blown coverages, it is people running wide open through your secondary. It is just bad. But I would love for them to go get a big time defender to help with the run. At least take away something. And they be better, and they have been better against the run this year. But a lot of teams are just saying, "Fuck it, we don't need to run it because we can just throw it. Why the fuck we run it? We can just throw it against them." So a lot of teams just don't run it because they also bad in the passing game. But yesterday you saw the Carolina Panthers, Rico Dowdle, they ran it down their throat. When the running back gets some 183-yard rush and the quarterback throws over 200 yards, no 3 TDs, no interceptions, that is a bad defense. Yeah, you have to be able to stop something, right? You gotta be. I didn't even read that part of the chat, but I'm already on you. I'm reading your mind because it's like you gotta stop something. You can't give them everything. You have to stop something. I mean, that defense is like an OF model, man. Everybody gets a look. Everybody gets a look. I mean, everybody can just have their way with them. But I'm just gonna start calling the Dallas Cowboys the OF model. They for everybody. They for the streets. All right, let's move. Let's just go from the top. Oh, what a horrible football game yesterday in London. I mean, just an awful football game. The Broncos beat the Jets 13-11. Just an ugly football game. Both teams, the offenses just set football back 30 years. Just set offensive football back 30, 40 years. It was just an ugly football game. I don't have really that nice to say about this game. Except the Broncos won, so you giving them credit. Now the Broncos have a hell of a defense. Don't get me twisted. Pat Surtain may be the best defensive player in all of football. Certainly the best cornerback in football. The two ends that they have, Benito and Cooper, are potentially the best two defensive ends in the game. Duo in the game. They are just getting after the quarterback. I think Benito had like 8 sacks. So I think he leads the league in sacks. They just getting after your QB when you get the passing downs. Their defense is legit, so I don't want to do that. But that's where the good stuff stops. I didn't see anything good from Bo Nix yesterday, but I want to focus on Justin Fields because it's time. it's time we have this uncomfortable conversation about Justin Fields. Um, he spent a few years with the Bears. They had different offensive coordinator every year. They had a different coach every year. I mean, they had a defensive coach. I'm sorry, they changed offensive coordinators. So, and we kept giving him the benefit of the doubt. We saw him in Pittsburgh, had some flashes, uh, but he don't have it. And what I'm learning, well, what I'm learning more of is I watch football and I watch the NFL game more so than college. When I watch the NFL game, all these athletic, all these 5'2" guys you want to call them with the big massive arms, the big frames, and all the muscles. I mean, all that physical stuff, right? At the end of the day, what I'm learning watch these games, and it's nice to have those things. There's a few quarterbacks who have those things. That have that 6'4" and can run and can throw a ball through a hurricane like Josh Allen. Okay, but what I'm learning as I'm watching these NFL games every day, and the thing about Justin Fields that I don't see, he doesn't process information quickly enough. This game is about processing information quickly. This is what I'm watching the really good quarterbacks, and then I watch the guys who don't play really well, and that's what very noticeable. They all got the talent. They all got arm talent. They all got this crazy athletic ability. That's fine. But this is why Brady was like this. This is why Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, because those guys physically, they're not the greatest just physically. But when it comes to processing information and decision making, this got to be sharp, and this is what he lacks to me. Justin Field lacks the processing. He doesn't process it quickly enough. He's waiting for everything to happen instead of anticipating. Another thing about these quarterbacks that I'm noticing that really good quarterbacks, anticipatory skills. They're throwing the spots. They're throwing guys open. They're smart pre and post snap. So when I watch the bad quarterbacks play out, this is what just jumps off the screen. If you watch, it just jumps off the screen. They lost pre snap, they lost post snap. They're not able to process what's happening really, really quickly because it's happening so fast. They're not processing it fast enough. This is why he's taking so many sacks. This is why he's patting the ball. But when I watch bad quarterback play, it's very, very obvious what's happening. And when I watch good quarterback play, it's obvious what's happening there too. And I'm noticing it more and more. I really want to get away from having all talent is great. Having Matt Stafford's arm talent is awesome. Having Josh Allen's arm talent is awesome. But for the quarterback position, this game is played up here. Now you can be a superior athlete and do some things, but until you learn how to be cerebral and play the position right here, it's gonna be really tough on you. I mean, Pat Mahomes still got the big cannon for an arm, but he's cerebral. Josh has figured it out. Cerebrally has figured it out. Joe Burrow always had it. He always had it. It started like he knew the defense like the back of his hands. He knew what his players were gonna be. He knew what route combination would work on what coverages. Like he was sharp when it came to that. So when I watch the NFL now, this is all I see when I see certain quarterbacks now, because it's all about processing information and making a decision quickly. It's great to have arm talent. It's great to be mobile. It's great to have those traits. But if you can't process the information, if you can't have anticipatory skills, and you can't throw guys open, then you can't succeed in the National Football League. You can't do it. Shakiro. I've been a huge fan, Fields fan and supporter, but I can't support what I saw on the All 22 yesterday. That's just speaking to what I'm speaking to right now. He looks hesitant holds on to the ball too long, doesn't trust his eyes, and I don't know what the head coach is doing. Yeah, well, no, the head coach is stuck with him. He believes in the guy. He gave him an opportunity. Um, but at some point, he's gonna have to make a decision because it's ultimately it's hurting the football team. Because again, like you say, we're saying the same thing. I'm calling it. He's not processing the information. You're saying he's hesitant, holds to the right. He's not trusting what he sees. He's waiting for something to come completely open, and that just doesn't happen in national football. These windows are so small. Windows are so small, man, and it's crazy. But at this point, it's time to have that conversation. He may get another start or two, but he doesn't look good at all throwing the football. He can make some plays off platform, obviously, but he's creating his own. He's creating his own highlights because a lot of times, if the pocket is clean, he's not making the right read. He's not been able to come off his first read, not been able to get through his progression. So he has a lot of flaws when it comes to that, and I'm telling you, and I'm sure it's been this way forever, but for me, it's been so crystallized for me this year when I'm watching good quarterbacks play. It's not been a lot of great quarterback play in college football, but even Ty Simpson, that's a guy that understands exactly what I'm telling. He is processing his information really, really quickly. He is diagnosing the defense really, really quickly. He is making his mind up quickly. He's getting through his progression. He knows where his players are at in the progression. That there is a lot that comes with that position. It ain't just about the arm talent. You got to be good up here. You better be signed up here. I'm gonna talk about Matt Jones yesterday in that game yesterday. Now he threw a couple picks because he got fooled pre-snap. He got fooled pre-snap once, and the other pick was asked on the receiver. But he threw for 350 yards yesterday. And I'm watching him as he knew exactly where the ball needed to go. He threw it where it needed to be at. He made some great throws yesterday. He don't have no big arm. He ain't got no rocket. He ain't mobile at all. But he can process information. He knows where he reads. Like he can get through. So I'm watching all these different quarterbacks. So when I speak to these teams, like yesterday, Bo Nix looked bad because he looks like basically what Justin Fields looked like yesterday. He looked bad yesterday offensively. But the coach beat the Cardinals yesterday. You're watching Daniel Jones play. He looked like a completely different guy this year. The confidence to know where he's supposed to go with the football is tremendous. We know about Aaron Rodgers. We understand what Aaron Rodgers is. They win 23-9 over the Browns. He had another clean day yesterday, 200 yards, and that's spectacular, but he was clean, no interception. I think he threw 2 TDs. No interceptions, clean game, over 70% passing. Drake May, not this big, the sensational arm talent. He can run, he can move a little bit, but again, playing the position from the pocket, understanding where everything is at. I mean, it is just when you watch good quarterback play, you can just see it. You can see it when you watch bad QB play. We're talking about the Raiders and Titans yesterday. You watch Cam Ward. Now, he's a young guy, so I don't want to kill him. But just not seeing it well. Taking sacks because he's not trusting what he's seeing and not making the anticipatory throws. Wait for a guy to get wide open, and it's not going to happen. It will happen. People blow coverages every now and then in the NFL. They do. People fall down. Yes. But for the most part, the windows are so tight, so small, that you have to trust what you see, and you have to let it go. You can't just stand back there and pat the ball forever in this league. You can't do it. I'm not gonna speak on them. Yeah, that's what I'm noticing from this football, from NFL this year. I've noticed that every year it's like I want to take something every year from the game of football so I can apply when I come over here and talk about it and be able to too articulated because that's what I'm saying. It's the processing of the information is what's separating the really good quarterbacks from the good quarterbacks to the guys that just suck. And the guys that just suck, they can't process the information fast enough. They're thinking entirely too much. They take a lot. If you notice, they take a lot of sacks. They pat the ball forever. So and they have low completion percentages. So that's what I'm noticing. Shakiro, I don't know if you touched on the quarterback from Alabama, but I watched the whole game. He looks like he has it. You can tell. Yeah, I did speak on time since I brought it back up in the conversation because you are absolutely right. He don't have these physical tools, but he's mastering at the college level right now because I'm not gonna go crazy. But he's mastering the quarterback position in the college game because he's beating you right here. He know where everybody on the football field. He know that defensive coverage. Like it is just amazing to watch a guy because when you see those guys, they never look panicked. They never look rushed. They never look panicked. When you watch good quarterback play and guys who process information well and understand the position, look at how the demeanor. They never look panicked. They never look rushed. They don't run into sacks. Like you mentioned, Ty, like it's so calm. So, like he can run a little bit. He's not a statue back there, but he don't have this big crazy arm. He's a little undersized guy for a prototypical quarterback, but he can make all the throws because they're anticipatory throws. You look at Brock Purdy, little guy. The son, they know exactly where the ball supposed to go to, where his receiver's supposed to be. A lot of times he throw the ball for the receiver even come out the break. He just throw it where he's supposed to be at, which is why he throws some picks sometimes. Because if a guy get bumped off the route or he not where he's supposed to be, he gonna throw a pick because he has to do that because of the lack of arm strength, because of the lack of the size of his arm. He can't afford to wait for a guy to come over. He can't afford to do all these things. He don't have the arm to push it, to step on it. They say step on it like a Matthew Stafford who could just step on it and throw a damn ball through a hurricane, which is what he does. But I don't got off on this tangent about quarterback because that the Justin Fields thing kind of led down this road. You watch Tua Tagovailoa, who's done it for years. He doesn't seem like he processes information very well at all. I think they lost again yesterday. The Chargers 29-27. They're 1-5. So I seem like they will be they probably are going. Mike McDaniel is definitely going to get fired. They'll probably start trading some pieces here soon. They have a nice payroll, but for a team that's not really really good. So I think they'll start sending some veteran players away here soon. But yeah, if just tune into the game tonight. We got 2 football games tonight: Bills and Falcons, Bears and Commanders. Now you watch these quarterbacks when they're in the pocket tonight, and just look and see which ones that look like they know what, not panic, and look exactly. They know exactly what everything's gonna be at pre and post snap, and they're not patting the damn ball. They're not running into sacks. They're not throwing the guys late. So just keep your mind and keep your eyes peeled on that tonight when you're watching football. But let me get through some of these scores. I mentioned the Colts over the Cardinals 31-27. Indiana Jones continues to be great. He played great yesterday. Jonathan Taylor, what else can be said about JT? JT has been sensational this year at the running back position. It was the Rams 17, the Ravens 3. The Ravens are a absolute hot mess. The Ravens are bad. No Lamar Jackson yesterday. Zay Flowers fumbled twice yesterday. They had a chance to get the ball in the end. So they got to the 1 yard line. The Ravens got to the 1 yard line, maybe 2 yard line yesterday. Derrick Henry had ran all the way down the field. So they get down here and decide they want to get cute. So I think they ran Derrick Henry on the first play. The next two plays, they try to do some version of a tush push using Nate Andrews as the quarterback. They couldn't get it in. And the fourth down play, they pitched it to Derrick Henry. He gets stopped, 2-yard loss, and that's the closest they got to the red zone again the rest of the game. What a horrible sequence of events that was. They ultimately end up benching Cooper Rush. Tyler Huntley came in late, tried to engineer a drive, but subsequently he turned it over. But they look a mess. Puka Nacua got injured yesterday. I think he might have came back into the game, so it doesn't appear to be serious. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. I mentioned the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, 23-9 over the Browns. I think they're 4-1, lead the AFC North. And I mentioned I said this last time, but it's something about when you go to OTAs and mini camps and all that good offseason stuff. Aaron Rodgers, you build a rapport with guys. Him and DK Metcalf have just clicked. And to me, it's just all the offseason work they put in together. And, man, they are just meshing well, seemingly knowing what. And Aaron made some throws yesterday that looked like MVP Aaron Rodgers. He made some throws yesterday that was sensational. The defense is the defense. They did play Dillon Gabriel and the Browns. Dillon Gabriel threw the ball like 52 times yesterday and barely got over 200 yards. Don't know what game plan involved. A rookie quarterback going on the road against a Pittsburgh Steelers team, come off a bye, and you throwing the ball 52 times. The Cleveland Browns have no idea what the hell they're doing at no level. Owner, GM, head coach, they all lost. This is a lost franchise right now. A lost franchise. Moving along. It was the Seahawks with an impressive win over Jacksonville. They went to Jacksonville, beat them 20-12. And all I can say is that was about JSN yesterday. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba has what's the word I'm looking for? He has put the word on notice that he is a legit number one receiver. One of those, guys that come out of Ohio State, which is a receiving factory now, which all the great receivers seem to come from Ohio State or LSU. He's one of those Ohio State ones. They let DK Metcalf go. They let Tyler Lockett go. In free agency, they traded DK, but they let Tyler Lockett go because they thought that this guy could be this. And he was sensational yesterday. He torched Jacksonville. Over 150-yard receiving on a touchdown. He was just Jab made a trade for a cornerback, Newsom from Cleveland. He played yesterday. That didn't help at all. And I told you, I'm just not impressed with the Jags offensively because that quarterback, who should know better, who should be further along, who should be in this conversation of great quarterback, who should be in conversation for MVPs. He doesn't process the information like he needed to. He throws hospital balls game after game after game after game after getting receivers hemmed up. But he did seem to get a connection with Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday, so hopefully they can build off of that. They have ran it pretty well for most part of the season. But Trevor Lawrence, right now, he's on the Jags, and it makes sense because he is a Jag. At this very moment, he's currently a Jag. He's a $55 million. Is he more? $58 million? He's $50+ million Jag. He's a $50 million Jag right now. You're paying him a lot of money to get 12 points on the Seahawks defense. They gave up 1 billion points to Baker Mayfield last week at home. And Jacksonville got some players on the outside. So this is about Trevor Lawrence again. You can't hide bad quarterback play in the National Football League. You cannot do it. You absolutely cannot hide bad quarterback play in the National Football League. You can't do it. Jesus, where am I at? Shakiro, why do you think we're seeing teams get cute? It's always been like that. It's always been like I don't know what the offensive coordinator is thinking that. Oh, well, nobody would ever think we're gonna do this. So let's do this. Nobody would ever think, let me be the smartest guy in the room. Nobody would ever think that we're going to do this. Let me do this. Derrick Henry had ran the ball all that damn field. I know you. I'm bringing that back up because that's where that pisses me off. That pissed me off so bad. They ran two freaking dumbass tush push like plays and then get in the end zone. Then they try to give it to him for just look. The offensive coordinator trying to be the smartest guy in the room and outsmart everybody. When sometimes it's just simple. You gotta make these. I'm at the 1 yard line. You got to show me you can start Derrick Henry 4 times from the 1 yard line. If you do that, I'm gonna just take my cap. I'm gonna tip it to you that you did a good job because that didn't make any sense. Secure another example. Lions on the 4th down play. Right, last night Lions again getting cute. I don't know what that was about. I mean, it would have worked, but it's one of those things where you call that play. Jared Goff doesn't understand that he had to come set because he left him under center, not knowing the rules of the game. Get called for a legal procedure, take away a touchdown, we set up for a field goal. So, that was tough. Mr. KDD says it was about how bad the Jags offensive line was. Gave up 7 sacks, 17 quarterback hits. Yeah, I don't doubt that the Jags offensive line is bad. But when I see something like 7 sacks and 17 quarterback hits, I know for a fact all that's not on the offensive line. I know without even watching the tape, I know for a fact all of them sacks and hits are not on the offensive line. Now I'm not saying these guys are great, but the Seahawks pass rush, they got some decent guys over there. They can get out there a little bit. They went at home though. To give up 7 sacks and 17 quarterback hits. We got some problems. We got a play calling issue. If you got a guy getting beat like that, we need to help this guy. We need to chill. We need to tight end out here. Trevor we need to start running some quick stuff so we can get the ball out Trevor's hand. Trevor can't hold the ball forever. So it's a lot that goes into 17 quarterback hits and 7 sacks for a team. Because Seahawks are not known for this outstanding pass rush. I have to look at this sack numbers, but they're gonna be up there now. But they're not known for this pass rush. When I just saw at home against Bay get lit up. So it's a lot goes into those sacks. It's just not the O line. Because if you can say about the Jets O line, but I'm not gonna put all them sacks on the Jets O line. I watched that game. I saw Justin Fields leaving the pocket sometime when the pocket never not to be lead. And sometimes you have to step up in the pocket. The rush is meant to go around you. Sometimes you got to step up in the pocket to make a throw. And that's another thing you see with quarterbacks who don't trust anything. They don't step up in the pocket. Sometimes it's meant to step up in the pocket. It's meant for you to step up in the pocket. They don't do that. He rushed back, try to get outside of it. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Bad quarterback play is everywhere. It's very evident. That's why teams overpay for these guys when you think you have one, because it's so hard to find really good ones, man. But what I'm learning, like I say, it ain't about all their own talent. It ain't all about all that stuff. It's about that mental. Who can be cool and calm under pressure? There's a lot of stuff going around you at the quarterback position. There's a lot of stuff you're responsible for. So can you do that? Can you comprehend? Can you allow yourself to calm yourself down and be able to process this? So it's a lot goes on with that. Sekiro, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, 3 quarterbacks that got rolled off fast, then went to new situations and systems and are excelling. Yep, should be talked about more. Yeah, I mean we talked about it. I think they talked about it in the program yesterday that all those guys basically with like a quarterback. We used to call it a quarterback. They call it a quarterback watch. We used to call it a coaching watch. When you would get fired, you would go down in Alabama and get a job as a analyst or something. And then he would clean you back up, and then you'd be back on the market again to get a head coaching job. Well, Kyle Shanahan's that trio. I can't think of the guy's name. not Stefanski, but I can't think of the other guys. Now, there's a couple of guys in that tree that all these guys touched. The guy in Minnesota, the head coach in Minnesota, can't think of his name. Can't think of the guy in Minnesota's name. But anyway, Sam Darnold goes to that guy. That guy's under the Shanahan tree. So he gets to learn a little bit the tutelage under him. He carried that over into Seattle. Uh, see with Baker, he gets down there with Lynn Cohen and that West Coast system got him going. So, it's a product of the system, believing in your quarterback. Because the West Coast system is all about processing information. It's a quick system. It's typically designed to get the ball to your hand really, really quick. That West Coast concept that was invented by the great Bill Walsh, the great 49er head coach Bill Walsh, came up with the West Coast system, what's been passed down to Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan. Now, and Kyle Shanahan has his little. It's Sean McVay. Yeah, Sean McVay. Yeah, Baker went to Sean. Yeah, I'm sorry. Baker went to go see Sean McVay, another guy who in that same tree. They all worked together at Washington at some point on the same staff. So he went to Sean McVay for a little while. So touching those guys, getting around guys who know how to play the position, guys who understand the quarterback position, guys who can get the best out of the quarterbacks is important. All those guys went and seen somebody and touched somebody that got them in this position because it ain't all about, a lot of times these teams get quarterbacks and it's, we're going to play our system. You're going to have to learn our system. We're going to stick you in our system and make you learn this system. And sometimes it just don't fit. And a lot of coaches get real stubborn and hard-headed and not trying to adjust to what their players can really do. They try to force a square peg in a round hole type of situation. Sometimes you got to let players play. You need to play to your players' strengths. Period. You need to play to your players' strength, and that's what a lot of those guys do when it comes to that system. But that West Coast system and those guys, the Matt LaFleur's in Green Bay, that's what he does with Jordan Love. He does that. The guy and the coach, the head coach, he's a part of that system. So they're all running very similar systems, and there's no surprise that they all have success with their quarterbacks. So that's a big deal. That's a big part of it. But yeah, kudos to all them guys: Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, all written off. Again, Baker has a live arm, but he's a small, undersized guy. He's like 6 foot tall. Daniel Jones don't have this big, overly huge arm. He can run a little bit. Again, processing information. Sam Darnold, same thing. He don't have this big, huge arm, not very athletic, not mobile, but he can process information. And that West Coast system rewards you when you can process information because it's designed for that. So let me get the rest of these games out before I go. I mentioned the Panthers over the Cowboys, 30-27. Bryce Young was spectacular. Rico Dowdle was sensational. Jordan Pickens went crazy yesterday. He looked like a number one receiver. He's gonna get a lot of money this year, a lot of money in the offseason for him. So I don't think he'll be back with the Cowboys. I don't think they'll be paying $230 million receivers. Maybe I can't see it. Patriots beat the Saints 25-19. I mentioned how good Drake May has been for the Patriots. He's been great. I think he had 3 TD passes in the first half yesterday. So, but they didn't. I mean, they didn't score a lot. They only scored 3 points in the second half. But he was great in the first half. It was the Raiders over the Titans. Mentioned how bad the Titans are. They fired the head coach. They did fire the head coach. Titans fired Ryan. I think his name Ryan Callahan. He got fired today. So the Titans have already fired their head coach because it has been a disaster in Tennessee. They have been just awful. I'm not sure what you expect when you had the number one pick last year. It's kind of tough on the. That's a tough deal for the head coach. I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about him, but that seems very very tough for a head coach to have a team that was number one draft pick last year, and then I mean, I guess you expect to see some improvement, but I guess the ownership felt they want to go in a different direction. But the Raiders beat the Titans. It was the Packers over the Bengals. Bengals bring in Joe Flacco. The Bengals did look a little bit more, and we figured they would. Joe Flacco would give you a little bit more stability, but they're not going anywhere with Joe Flacco. Jamar Chase caught a touchdown yesterday, but it was Jordan Love. Uh, um, Josh Jacobs had 2 TD rushes yesterday, so he was great. Packers gonna win off the bye, and then in the game last night was great. The Chiefs and Lions, a lot of hype and beer. What a great job for the Chiefs. Steve Spagnuolo held that Lions offense to under 300 yards. That is a tough thing to do. He had them got to 17 points when they had been since that Packer game. They had been rolling people up, and for him to hold them to 17 points under 300 yards with the offense. Pat Mahomes had 3 TD passes yesterday. They gonna get Rashid Rice back here soon. This offense is starting to click with Tyco and Thornton, who didn't really play a lot yesterday, but Hollywood Brown had 2 touchdowns yesterday. You're going to get Rashid Rice back. You got Xavier Worthy. So this offense is starting to round in shape, and Pat, as great as they come, one of the greatest to ever play the game. So you get him some weapons and you get him some offensive talent. They could be a problem. The defense is really, really good. They're solid. They got one of the best defensive coordinators of all time in Spags. So Chiefs 3-3 now. Could be a problem in the AFC. We got 2 games tonight. Starting at 7:15. The Bills at Falcons. Josh Allen and the Bills take on the Falcons who have a bye week. Last time we saw the Falcons, Michael Penix Jr. over 300 yards. Bijan Robinson over 100 yards. They had Kyle Pitts caught a touchdown. Drake London caught a touchdown. This is what I expected to see from this Falcons offense all season. So we'll see if it continues. The Bears off a bye week. Caleb Williams taking on the Commanders. Jaden Daniels' second start back from injury. No Terry McLaurin tonight. So should see a lot of Debo Samuel. I don't know the other receivers that we might see tonight. Luke McCaffrey might get some burn. Zach Ertz might have to be a part of the passing game tonight without having Terry McLaurin. So it should be a fun night, doubleheader. Oh, also we have the MLB playoffs, the NLCS, ALCS. The ALCS is currently on. Seattle won game 1. It was tied 3-3 when I came onto the air. And tonight, game 1, NLCS, Dodgers in Milwaukee. Blake Snell for the Dodgers. Brewers with a bullpen game. Man, I did not know if I made that pick of the Brewers that Brandon Woodruff was out for the whole series, for the playoffs, which has killed their pitching depth that I was so excited about. That's why I picked them going into the playoffs. But without him, man, the depth is really scaring me right now. But should be an interesting game 1. Baseball player have been outstanding, have been tremendous. Hopefully the Braves can make it next year. But with that is the end of the show. That is the end of Sentell's Intel. Right here live on YouTube. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me, man. It's been an emotional 48 hours for me. I'm telling you, I've been just devastated. I've been demoralized. I've been devastated. Never been as emotional like I can remember. It's one of the most emotional times I can remember being yesterday watching that football game. Prayers up to my guy Fred Warner. That just gutted me yesterday. With it's just bad. I can't even talk about it. But I think, did I miss anything in the sport? Did I miss anything? I think I got my notes. Did I miss anything? I think I covered everything. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in, who watched and commented on the show. Again, if you remember, like, share, and subscribe. If you are watching, I will post later on Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe. Like and share the post. I will clip this up and look for a couple of clips, edit. So make sure you like those. Make sure you share those on your Facebook pages and any other platform that you may have. So again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the baseball. I will see you next Wednesday for Q&A Wednesday right here on the Best Damn Sports Podcast, period. Sentell's Intel. I have been your host, the sensational Sentell Whiteman, a.k.a. Mr. Know It All, a.k.a. the One Man Dynasty. Join me next Wednesday for Q&A Wednesday. But thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Enjoy the sports, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.